Hi, welcome to a Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm a singer-songwriter. I live on a dirt road in rural Nova Scotia with my best friend Dale and our calico cat, Olivia. This podcast is totally just a chill chat with heart. As soon as you tune in here, I consider you one of my little heartbeat listeners. I love sharing these personal stories, and recording these episodes are great practice for me to try and calm the fuck down and just be myself.
If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day.
All right, before we get into today's episode, can we talk about centralized heating and cooling systems for just a second? Because, wow, ours is brand new and somehow already needs a full-time babysitter. I don't mean to sound ungrateful for this new incredible system, but is anyone else finding that these systems require like this constant attention? I mean, we actually had somebody come to the house, a technician, and this is, I'm no word of a lie. They said, you know what? Because, okay, here's the thing. There was ice building up, sheets of ice building up on the sides of the device, which happens when it's snowing or like when it's close to like 0 degrees. Anyway, the advice the technician gave us was, you know what? When there's a snowstorm, just shut it off. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. We need it on to heat the house so that we don't freeze and the pipes don't freeze. Why would... This is a very expensive unit. Like, this costs taxpayers quite a bit of money. We now benefited from this home warming program as a low-income household. And so, like I said, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. When it works, it's fabulous. But there are just some things about it, particularly when the weather is cold and we live in Canada and it's a long winter. You can't just leave the house and like not worry about it, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I do want my rant to be over now, but if anybody out there listening to this has a centralized heating and cooling system and has had this experience of having to babysit it, please email me or call my heartbeat hotline, and please let me know what your experience has been like. Okay, otherwise, I am feeling really grateful and excited heading into this next little stretch here. Big Shiny Tunes is coming up Friday 6th and 7th in Halifax at the Marquee Ballroom. I am so looking forward to this. And then Dale and I and our buddy Hannah Melanson, we have a Valentine's show at Patchworks in Bedford, Nova Scotia. We're going to sing only my love songs. And then guess what? There's a big thing coming up. On March 6th, we are launching a new album. It's called The Essentials. And to celebrate, we're taking the Denim Sessions on the road. Denim Sessions, by the way, if you don't know, are the house concerts we have in our home where everybody's encouraged to wear as much denim as humanly possible. And so we're bringing this on the road. We'll be having a proper new album celebration at the Syrup Factory in Halifax, March 6th. It's looking like a digital release. And I don't know when in the future I would go for a physical release for an album again. I mean, I do strongly believe in the album. I grew up with cassette tapes and CDs and then DVDs and vinyl. But I'm also trying to pay my debt and be a responsible adult and realistic and practical. And looking at all the data, folks, you want to stream music, then I can't afford to manufacture physical albums anymore. Still have a lot of them we're sitting on, and you can still find them at the shows. But this one's going to be a special digital album, and I think that's okay. I really do. I think I've come to terms with it anyway. And I know you will too. The cool thing about this album that's coming out, and I will talk more about it in a future episode, is that it's not a greatest hits because I don't have any hits really, but it is an album to celebrate the work that Dale Murray and I have done for the last 20 years. And it's an album of a collection of songs that resonate with us, that we love playing, that fans seem to like, that we get the more requests for. And so I'm really excited about it. And we have a brand new single that Dale and I wrote together that's coming out. It'll be on the Essentials album. More about that in the future. Okay, so also Germany tour is coming up, April 16th to May 2nd. It's happening. All the dates are up on my website, ChristinaMartin.net, if you want to come and hang out in real life. And outside of performing, honestly, I am just taking care of business and pleasure. And by pleasure, I mean songwriting, podcasting, visiting my mom and friends, chilling with my best friend Dale, and our cat Olivia. I like to exercise. I've been doing a lot of singing, rehearsing. You know, all the good and kind of boring, also grounding stuff. It is so special getting to spend even just a small pocket of time, like an hour, getting to know somebody better. And today, I want to shine a light on a very cool human, Duane Jones, founder of Art Pays Me. Duane is someone who genuinely cares about artists being supported, respected, and paid for their work. Art Pays Me is all about helping creatives understand their value, build sustainable careers, and navigate the business side of making art without losing their soul in the process. I love it. This was such a grounding, honest, and encouraging conversation, and I am super happy you're here for it. So let's get into it. Hi, Duane. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Hi. You back home?
Yeah, I was in Toronto, had to leave early because of the snowpocalypse that was happening there and here.
Is there any secret, business or creative happenings in Toronto that you're willing to divulge on the podcast? What were you doing there? It's none of my business, but tell me.
I did design TO, which is like, I guess somewhat like Nocturne, I guess, in terms of like, it's like a design. They tied it into Design Week in Toronto, and there was an interior design show happening. But Design TO was like, they take over these different venues, and you, as an artist or designer, can like set up different art or design exhibits, things that like challenge people to think. Ours was more on the art side, but a lot of them are just kind of like industrial designers doing cool things or, whatever. But you have to like apply I did a joint exhibition with Andrea Shang Jackson from here, who does textile art. And we did like work commenting on our experiences with basketball and how they each other. It was fun. It's really, really cool. And it felt like, we went to this launch party and ran into all these people that we knew. So I'm like, man, I feel like weird. I'm in Toronto and I'm still seeing people that I know. It's odd.
From Halifax or from Nova Scotia?
Yeah, Omar Gandhi was there, who's an architect who's based here. And then Yana Makalik, who was the interim NASCAT president for a bit, she was there. And then I saw another dude from a Halifax thing. There's a Newfoundland artist that we met. And then Keep House she's, I'm forgetting her real name. Sorry. I always know people from Instagram. But she was there. So it was just like, and then I met all these other Ontario people too. Like this crazy furniture firm called Moy. We ended up hanging out in their booth, and they liked us, so they were like, "Yo, come hang out with us," and it was fun vibes.
That's so fun. That sounds like, I was thinking the other day about how like business or people who work at corporations or whatever oftentimes get to go on these corporate, trips, and it's
Yeah.
like the big thing of the year, and but they have to withstand these like really boring seminars and talks a lot of the times. But when there's a music conference or an arts conference or big event, I feel like it's that much more exciting because the exhibits are not super boring and mundane.
No, yeah. Yeah. It was like all
Yeah.
famous designers speaking, or like, I mean, there was a lot of salespeople, but the salespeople were fun. So it wasn't like they were just trying to like, if they realized we didn't have any money, they still were like, yo, cool. And they still wanted to talk to us and hang out with us. And then I saw
That
like Steve Sabados, I think, interior design, like TV guy,
oh
just hanging
yeah,
out. It's just like, this is so weird.
that's so cool. Do you go to a lot of things like that?
No, this was my first time. Andrea did this before, so she kind of knew what to expect. But this is the first time I've like taken my work and exhibited it outside of the province.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big learning curve, super expensive. We
Yeah.
applied for a bunch of grants, so for our grant, hopefully we get some of that money back. But like
Yeah.
for the experience of it, and I've been saying I want to like take my career or think bigger with my career, and this was kind
Uh-huh.
of like a step in that direction, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, if you ever want to chat on the side about like exporting, I think you probably are already familiar with the exporting grants, but that's one thing I
Mhm.
learned in the last decade or so is that oftentimes there's more funding for artists and creative industries to go outside of the province. And there's still, it's not like it's all, it's not like it's 100% covered, but there are creative ways to make it, either break even or pay back in the future. And that's, one of the reasons I was able to, and am able to tour sometimes, but like I get a lot of my funding through the creative industries, which is the same, I think, funding through the province that you qualify for as well. And so, yeah, we can chat about that
I would love to.
anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love nerding out on that stuff. It's helpful for everybody. And it's not something like I learned, I didn't find it out in the beginning as a musician talking to other musicians. I found out about it through talking to business people or stepping outside of just what's offered within the music industry. Yeah, but actually, well, this is, first of all, welcome to A Chat with Art podcast. I've been wanting to have you on here since we met. Let's talk about how we met, because I think we first met, we went out for coffee, like
Yes.
met.
Yeah. That was the first
And
time we met in person. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, I got this, like, I started seeing you pop up on my socials. I started following you. I was like, Art pays me. What's this dude? What's going on? And I just kind of got a sense. I was like, this would be a really cool person to meet. And then I reached out, I think, and then we made it happen. Is that accurate, or did I just make all that up?
It sounds about right, but I feel like it was mutual. Like I remember following you and thinking, oh, she's cool. She's doing like cool music stuff. She's got a good like vibe and aesthetic and energy. And then I remember we had mutual friends. I keep thinking of Kristen Harrington. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well,
But
because she's a connector. Her and Mike from
mhm.
Mike and Kristen, the podcast, and the Make It podcast.
Yes.
And actually, yeah, so like that was another thing at the time. I was like, you were on my radar, and then you were on their podcast. And then, wait a minute, did we first meet briefly at their party where they get their podcast guests together?
That's what I'm trying to remember, which came first, if it was us meeting there or if we met for coffee. But I think we met for coffee first.
And then we didn't talk at their party? Were we like,
Yeah,
no,
like we didn't really talk that much at the party, and it was
not because
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
want to. I think I parked myself on
no.
the couch and I was like, all right, I'm here. Do you, I'm actually nervous at a lot of parties. This might sound weird because we just had a party video that you were in. But at a lot of parties where like, I oftentimes will just find the cozy chair and then just see what happens. But I don't usually go around a lot. I feel like I'm
No,
gonna
I
just
understand that.
interrupt people. What are you like at parties? Are you like
Uh,
just gregarious and
no, I've become an omnivert. Actually, funny, like I saw somebody who was like a friend from Bermuda who knew me when I was like 18, and she came out to the exhibitions and stuff, and we were talking. And she was like, "You're so much more low key." And I was like, I thought that I was more outgoing back then, which is crazy to me.
when you were a
Um,
kid or when you were like growing up in Bermuda?
but like,
You were
yeah,
more.
she knew me post high school when I was just starting to think I was the shit. I had this like small window of time where I was like, I'm
Where
not
you
the
were the
nerd
shit.
anymore. I'm like, I started
Yeah.
shaving my head. I was like lifting weights. I thought I was like a cool dude. So I had a moment of like high confidence, and then that kind of went away again. But she,
What stole it? What moving to Canada? Did we
no,
steal that from you? Okay.
I think moving to Canada helped me find myself a little more. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's weird. But I like to. I've learned that I need to just be okay with being who I am and know that I'm not for everyone. And I think that's made me feel better. But I know at like the fake party for the video, I didn't know as many people, and I tend to latch on to like a couple people that I get good vibes from sometimes. And I don't necessarily want to do that either because I don't want to like overwhelm them. But there
I
were
do
like,
that too. I do that
yeah,
too.
Krista and Ali. I kind of like lomped onto them a little bit.
I don't think they minded. I think they did the same thing.
Yeah,
I think they actually would think that that's what they did to you with you. Like they might think that, oh, I just latched on to him because and also I was throwing people in a room full of people that they're not super familiar with, and I think that's a very natural human thing to do. And it ended. The results were good. Nothing but good memories from.
absolutely. And I thought
Yeah.
you were a great host. Like, I didn't feel
Oh, well,
like you
thanks.
ignored me. I felt like you like made me feel welcome, and like you were like high energy and happy and all that kind of stuff. And I got to meet Dale. Like I met him briefly at Kristen's, but like I got to meet him more like in this scenario. And then like yeah, people that I hadn't seen. Um,
Oh, oh well,
Lisa.
Lisa. Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. And
she's
Steph,
someone
you
who
knew Steph as well. Steph Purcell,
I knew
or
her
no?
online, I think, but I had never
Okay.
met her in the real world.
Well,
Um,
the real world
oh,
was that music video, right? That's
yes, but I did know DIY mom because she was on my podcast, but
yes,
I knew her. I had met her in
Rebecca.
real life either. So
Yeah,
it was fun seeing how she is in real life versus like podcast version.
she's a lot of fun.
She's a
A
lot of
lot
fun.
of fun, as are you. And can you imagine if I would have invited you and then ignored you? That would have been a real jerk move.
Well, like I've been in situations where I've been invited to stuff and I'm like all excited to be there, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know anyone, and then I feel like a knob. So yeah, that does happen.
It can happen. It's funny because most of my life I've had parties. If I've had a party at all, I don't usually anymore, but back when I did have parties, and I would invite, I won't say I don't mean the most random people. They were all close friends of mine, but we never typically got together. I knew them they were good friends from just different classes or scenarios, and like, but all just really good people. And I
Yeah,
remember when Steph and I were putting together the video guest list and people we wanted to invite, and that was like, we were like, they have to kind of meet these criteria, because you can't control every scenario. You might invite somebody and they just don't feel comfortable and whatnot. That's but you
yeah,
we kind of get a sense for that, and you just put a bunch of people in the same room that are good people, and like usually it's only good results usually,
Good
like,
results. Yeah. Well, and thank you for having me on the show. But to that point, like that's what my exhibition in Toronto was like, or our exhibition,
oh
because
yeah.
like Andrea is a quilter, so and textile artist. So she had like these older ladies that were just enamored by what she does who
Yeah.
came out, and then I had some like basketball dudes that I know who came out, and then I had my younger cousins that live in Toronto there, and then there was like other really super artsy people. There were some academic profs and stuff like that. But you just
Yeah.
had like this crazy mix of individuals who all came together, and I love that stuff. I
Yeah,
love that
me
stuff.
too. That's my fave.
Yeah.
That alone is a cool inspiration for any creative project, I
Yeah.
think. So tell me about your basketball and your experience with your involvement with, like, do you still play? Did you play in high school? Were you the starting quarterback? That's not basketball. That just shows you right there that obviously I don't play Were you the star quarterback of the basketball team, Duane?
Certainly. No. I grew up in Bermuda where football or soccer, as people like to call it here, like football and cricket, those are the sports that you played. And we all just kind of played them in our backyards or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I wasn't good enough to, or cared about it enough to really play in school. The only thing I was really interested in was martial arts. So I actually started doing martial arts fairly young. And, you know, I didn't make the team early in that either. And then but I trained, I worked hard. And then I got really athletic after doing that. And then
Yeah.
at about like 13, we were playing basketball in high school. And that was the first time I got introduced to it. And again, I was terrible at it, but like there was something about it that I was like, I'm not good at this thing, but it's so fun. I just want to do it every day. And I played every day, like until I got somewhat decent, and then tried out for the team. I don't think I made it. But then I think I eventually did make it, but then I would only play like 30 seconds a game and stuff like that. But I was still just super obsessed with this game. So like in the summer, we put together our own teams and we get to compete and play. But I was also like, I had this like weird competitive psycho side to me where I would go to we call it street ball. So I'd go
Yeah.
to the courts every weekend and I'd hunt anybody that I knew played for my school or another school. I'd be like, this is my time. I'm making an example out of you guys. But
Ooh.
it was just like, it was something about, and I realize now it's like, I think it's my ADHD and everything else. Like, as soon as I would get into these situations where I'm in a practice or I'm in a game with the ref or something like that, like, I would literally forget how to play the game. So I would just not play well in those situations. And I think as I got older, I figured out how to manage that better. But that said, my basketball career never really panned out. And when I had the choice to go to school, I applied to 3 schools, NASCAD. I played basketball at Bermuda College, which is not a great accomplishment. They just play in the local men's league because there's only one
Mhm.
college in Bermuda. So there's that. But
Yeah.
so I wanted to go to art school. I applied for Ontario College of Art and Design, Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, and Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia because they had a basketball team. And one of my teachers from Bermuda College went there and suggested that school. So I applied to all 3. Only NASCAD applied. So I was like, I guess that's the end of my basketball aspirations, and came to Nova Scotia.
Wow. And then do you still play, or was
Yeah.
that it?
So
Yeah.
I still play. So then it became like, again, just playing on the side. And every time I try to like prove I should be playing for university ball, even though I'm just a NASCAR guy. And it's kind of stuck with me. I still obsessively try to get better. Now I'm in my 40s, but I've had, I think in 2020, we had the COVID was like starting to somewhat come under control, and they started like letting people do activities again. I joined
Yeah.
the men's league at like 39 and was playing well. I was dunking. I was doing all the stuff that I used to do. And I was like, yeah, I'm an old guy, but I'm still like able to do it. And then I ruptured my Achilles tendon in like the third or fourth game in. And that's a year long, you got to sit out for a year. So that,
Oh,
yeah, that messed me up. Uh,
sorry, dude.
yeah, came back. Then 2023, feeling strong again. And then I ruptured my patella tendon in my knee. That's another year. And I had staph infections, all this stuff. But at that point, I was like I decided like I really want to channel all of that anxiety and darkness that I was experiencing into art. So actually a lot of the art that I presented in Toronto and going forward is like a representation of my recovery through that knee injury and how it kind of made me feel and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, dude, that's awesome that you were able to transform that because that's a lot. I'm not someone who likes to sit still, and yeah, even though I fell off a horse last year and landed on my tailbone, and it was
oof.
just a month of, but like I've never had anything like what you're describing, and I imagine I don't know what I would do. I guess I might read a lot more if I couldn't do the physically. Like I'm just, you do. I don't take it for granted, but like just it's something you do every single day. It's one thing I can't imagine, like even since I was 12 or 11, I've exercised, I won't say every single day, but it's like the one thing I can't quit. I'm not an
What do you do?
obsessive. Well, I like mixing it up. I like doing yoga sometimes. I like
Mm,
jogging in the, when the weather's nice.
mm.
We'll go for even just an hour long hike. Pilates. I like cardio. I mean, I used to do like the Jane Fonda. I still do the Jane Fonda workouts. Who am I kidding? Karen Voigt was my hero. Yeah, so I just mix it up. But like, I have to move my body. Like sitting is the
Yeah.
worst thing for my hips and so I feel for you, buddy. Like, how are you right today? Do you feel like recovered now
I'll
physically?
never be back. I guess they were like scared to tell me, but there was worry I might never walk properly again. And
Mm,
there was like, you know, the ability to run and jump was a thing. But I think for me, I did something that most people don't do, and I was just obsessively following the physiotherapy regimen both times I was out. And
yeah.
like it was literally every single day you had to do these. Sometimes it felt like nothing, like, just tiny little movements, but like you just had to do them. And then after a couple months or a week, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm getting a little stronger and I can do this again. I can do that again. And so that's
Yeah.
been my thing. I have to still kind of do it. And now that I'm playing again, I get lazy and don't feel like doing the physio, but I can play. So there's that.
Isn't that a great analogy for life and like all we do? Like, I find practicing music, like my songs for a show, like I don't, it just takes me a lot to wanna, I don't
Yeah.
like practicing. I do
No.
it. We do a little bit almost every day. And then we take like a week off after a big stretch of shows or something. Then we're like, ah, fuck, we got to get back at it. Like, because it keeps you kind of in the game. And
Hmm.
you notice over time, but it can be so boring. So
I'm glad
boring.
you said that. I always wondered about that with musicians. Is like, do you just like jump in because like I find if I notice it, I play once a week now, and if I don't do some kind of work outside of when I play, my game just gradually degrades. It just and it's so strange. You think you
Yeah.
figured it out, but you still have to keep practicing things.
I bet like there's some artists that don't have to or don't. Like I remember
Mm,
asking Renee Smith, who is just she's high up there on my iconic figures list. Do you do warm-ups? Do you practice? And like she's like, no, I just go into it.
yeah,
However, the difference between like Renee grew up in a musical family, very involved in music is a part of the church. Like it's sort of like I think just a daily or very often like grew up with it and it's sort of ingrained in her and that wasn't my experience. So
yeah,
I always feel I think everyone might be a little bit different, but I think I definitely need to practice and over prepare so that I can feel confident and be spontaneous.
yeah,
But I that I think comes from my insecurities of like starting late and I didn't grow up with music and singing in front of people and my insecurities but some people who grew up with it and like are just like child prodigies and whatnot.
yeah.
Maybe they don't feel they need to practice or maybe they're just playing music all the time. I don't know, but it is hard work for me. I don't know.
No, I think that's the same with me. Like with martial arts, with basketball, even and with art too. Like even design, like all of it. I had to come to terms with. I probably just have to work harder than everyone else to maintain a certain level. And if I want to be even better, then I have to be prepared to do extra.
Yeah.
And that sucks sometimes, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, this is us, and like it's like you love what you do love elements of what you do, and that's why you do it, or you grab onto those things about what you do that you love, and you're like, this is the reminder why I work so hard, like because
Yeah.
it doesn't come as easy for some. But I would like to hear a little bit more about your creative background, like growing up, early memories with creating, and what is it like? What was it that made you want to take this? I'm assuming is your path with heart.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been an artist for as long as I can remember. And okay, I have a memory, and I can't even believe I remember this. Maybe it's too gross.
No,
Just
do it. Yes, we like gross.
okay. So I just started doing murals probably in the last 4 years or so, something like that. But it turns out I actually did one a long time before that. So, uh, and I can't believe I actually remember this, or I don't know if my mom's just told it so many times. But apparently, when I was a baby, I took a diaper off and smeared it all over a wall.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my. Was it? Did your mom know it was art at the time?
No, no, I don't think she thought it was art. But then
Oh my god.
in hindsight, I'm like, I made a mural. I think, you know,
Duane, I think this mural might work today. I mean, depending on what you're, trying to represent. And,
yeah,
this is, wow.
yeah.
That's a, so, okay. Well, then were there some other post diaper smear mural, other kind of pivotal experiences with teachers or family
Yeah.
members or, yeah? Let's hear it.
So I just always liked to draw. I would look through books and just get I just remember that feeling of like super excitement when I saw a style that I liked and I try to like emulate it in some way. And I remember like when I was like 5 or 6, I made this thing I called the fire chalk book, and I like drew fire chalks and stuff, and it was like on my fridge for a long time. And every time I had like a book report or something to write, it would always be like super heavily illustrated. And I tried to do a comic book at some point in high school. I thought that back then I wanted to be a comic book artist,
Oh,
and
cool.
tried to figure that out. But I also like Bermuda is a super like It's a tax haven. It's a very economically driven society. So I always liked money, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to be an accountant. So that
Oh,
was actually what I
yeah.
tried to pursue.
Yeah.
Uh, but the school I got into is like the type of school you had to take an exam to get into. And I got in, but my grades were not great in accounting. So they basically told me I couldn't continue taking it anymore. So all I
Oh.
had was art. That was the only thing I was really good at. So I just leaned into it. And yeah, my art teacher was really supportive, and it like I almost didn't graduate high school. It got like that bad. But yeah, it just felt like, well, I can't do anything else. So here we go.
I love it. I like that you like money. I like money too. I
Yeah.
actually am secretly highly motivated by money. Well, not a secret anymore, but hey, what do you think of this? This always comes up to my mind. Andy Warhol famously said, making money is art, and working is art, and good business is the best art. And what are your thoughts on that, and how it kind of makes you think about, because sometimes you're making art, and a lot of what my experience with music and the music industry and all that is I've had to learn the business, and I've had to then I've sort of come back around and step away from the industry, but kept like my own business sense and made up my own way and path somehow. But money, having to figure a lot of money thoughts and figuring out and budgeting and
Oh,
and you got to get really creative. So like I'm 100%. I don't feel as gross about the business side of things anymore as I
hmm
used to. When I think of that quote, it sort of gives me permission to be like nerd out on the money sometimes side of things.
yeah, that's kind of me too. I am not like a raging capitalist or anything like that, and I'm always like conscious of taking advantage of people and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like my first job was as after graduating NASCAD was art director for a magazine. And I when I went in to interview with this dude, I realized like he hadn't even started the magazine. I was like the first person he talked to.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to see what it was like to build an ambitious creative project from the ground up. And I had no interest in entrepreneurship or anything like that before then. But like just kind of being like seeing how this guy did it was
Yeah.
like, and that's how I met Lisa actually, was just fascinating because that's when I did realize like business is really a creative pursuit because you think of these people as, oh, they've got it all figured out. They knew this and they know that, but he did not know what he was doing. Like he had some experience in publishing and stuff, like he worked there, but other than that, is literally taking chances, hoping this
Yeah.
thing's gonna work, just like you do with your art. It's like you don't know if something's gonna work until you start doing it and playing with it, and you're like, I kind of like the way that sounds, or I like the way that looks, or blah blah blah, and then you go in this direction, that direction. You're doing the same thing with like business decisions. So uh,
Yeah.
I kind of started to see the appeal of it there, and when I do the art pays me stuff, I mean, for sure, I look at creativity in general as an artistic pursuit. The output doesn't necessarily need to be an art relic. It could be it's the way your mind works, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all like also it's all exercising your brain and your creativity, I think. And it's I mean, even business people start with a blank page. Like we all start with a blank page, and then you throw a bunch of shit on the page and then try to sort it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what for my little heartbeat listeners who aren't familiar with you, Duane, and some of them are overseas in Europe, some of them are
Okay.
in the US, and most of them are in Canada, but who knows? Someone might be listening in, I don't know, pick a far off destination. Where would we like to our little heartbeat listeners to start listening from. How about Antarctica? People listen to podcasts in Antarctica? Sure. Okay, so from my little heartbeat listeners, new and old, what kind of products and creative works does Art Pay Me offer? Do you offer? And how did you land on this brand? Like, how did you kind of get to this point where you're like, I'm gonna call my brand, my umbrella brand, Art Pays Me, and I'm gonna offer a lot of things. Tell us about that. What it is.
When I started my business originally, it was called Glitterati Communications. And I started while I was working for that magazine because like the writing was on the wall. The business was starting to suffer. I needed something to keep me afloat. So I started doing graphic design work, taking on client work through that name. And I was also an immigrant that needed a job in order to stay in the country, because now that my student visa was up, like I had to just keep getting work permits. So my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, we started this business, and she was going to hire me as a designer for Glitterati Communications, and then it didn't go through. But I ended up getting a job at Dalhousie University as a graphic designer, and actually Duly Noted. Man, I'm forgetting. I worked at Duly Noted first, and then Dal. But I just kept the business in the background and would do client work over the years and build up a bit of a portfolio. But it was super frustrating because I kind of lost touch with myself as an artist. I was like a capital D designer, and I only did work that came to me from clients.
Yeah.
And I had no real point of view anymore. And but I did find myself starting to be like wanting to push my clients to do more interesting things, more things outside of the box, because I just think globally. I'm always like looking at what's happening around the world and wanted to be like, look, this is what is trendy right now, or this is what's interesting, or this is not even a trend. I think it will be a trend. Let's try this. And people only want to do what they've seen before, and it's often only the thing that they saw one of their competitors do. And I'm like, you're already copying. Like, anyway, I got super frustrated. So
yeah,
I
can
just
tell.
like,
Let it out. Let it all
made
out,
me
Duane.
mad. I was like, I know stuff. Like, I'm tired. Man, you remember the Hawaiian shirt trend that
Yes.
I remember, like, I'm in Bermuda one year and I'm looking at legit, like, Hawaiian shirts in this, like, cheesy touristy store. I'm like, man, it would be dope if you restyled these things slightly, put some anime characters on them, or, like, whatever. I
Yeah.
kid you not, a few years later, everybody was wearing Hawaiian shirts. And I'm like, see, I have ideas, and I sit, and, like,
If you don't act on them.
I don't act. It happens all the time. So I was like,
Yeah.
I need to make my own products. So I turned the Glitterati thing into a clothing brand called Be Glitterati. And the Glitterati are like the leaders in culture and design and all that stuff, right? So the premise was that. But like, and it did get a little bit of like popularity, but I hit a big wall because like the whole Glitterati thing was always like, it was a mouthful. It was a lot to explain to people, and I couldn't really figure out where to take it next. It didn't have like a strong direction. It was literally just me putting cool stuff, cool slogans on t-shirts, no direction. And then one of the last t-shirts I made for that brand said, "Art Pays Me." And I was talking to and I started like using the hashtag too all the time. And I was in a master's program at Dal at that time because I was like fed up with the creative industry, ready to just quit and just become a corporate dude because I was tired of it all. And when I was in that program, like everybody in there was like, your mind works so much differently than ours. And then I started to realize like, oh, it's because of my art. background and everything, I see things in a different way. It actually is valuable. And taking lessons I took from that actually made it easier for me to sell more outlandish concepts to my clients, because now I knew how to speak like business people speak, and I knew what their aims were. And that, we're not just being outlandish to be outlandish. We're being outlandish because we're trying to get this thing to happen for you, this business objective that you said you wanted to happen. So that was happening. I was toying with this idea. My boy Bo Cleaton had a firm called Napkin, and he was doing these like branding things, startup branding exercises for people. And I was like, yo, I want to join in. I want to do one. So I hired him and his agency to like do a little branding thing for Be Glitterati. And we hashed out all this stuff. And like at the end of it, like we talked about the values I have about creative empowerment and social justice and all that stuff. And he was like, I think you should change the name to Art Pays Me and just own that, and like make everything you do like align with those concepts. So from there, that was like 2014 or so.
Yeah.
The Art Pays Me brand was born.
I love it. Wow. I love it. So the website is artpaysme. Is it .com?
.com, yeah.
.com. And I encourage everybody to go and check that out. You really think through like the partners who you use, like, when it comes to manufacturing, which is, not something every company does. But can you talk about why that's important to you and why maybe you think it's important for the world to think more about how we make things that we put on our bodies?
Yes, definitely. So, I started out and like most people, like you just want the most affordable, like I genuinely tried to be a real fashion designer. I took sewing classes. I learned how to make things. But at the end of the day, I realized that my specialty is graphics. That's what I do. I make images. I'm not a textile artist. I'm not going to make the best t-shirt. That's already been that's someone else's bag. So I wanted to do was just find the best t-shirt that I could find. And there was a Canadian manufacturer that I found that the cotton was just so soft, so much like softer than the generic t-shirts that you might get from merch. And it's expensive, but I just like that right balance of quality. And then there was a lot of movement at that time about talking about made in Canada or made in the US and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
look, I'm a foreigner, so I think it's hypocritical for me to say that it's wrong to source things from elsewhere. However, in terms of like the carbon footprint and all of those things, and just the straight up quality, for me, it was important that people got a product that they can wear and that feels good to them. So yeah, that it takes away from my margins, but it just makes me feel good to know that my partners are ethical and that I know I'm getting a good thing that people can wear. Again, margins are a real thing, and that's so I want to get. Is it okay if I get a little soapboxy?
Yeah, please get a little soapboxy. Yeah, this is what people don't pay me for. I love it. Yeah.
So there's the other thing. Like when the whole Made in Canada thing really started too, that was it was gonna be partly like a selling point for me too, because people said they wanted this. But the reality is, I don't think people care that much. I think people care more that they can pay less. I think that's what they do. Care
that's
more
what
about.
In the music industry, that is 100% been proven. They do not. They just want to pay nothing.
Right. Because I'm like, I charge $40, which is not a ton, for my t-shirts because it cost me like $20 to make them. So, I could charge you less, because I've had people say I can go to Walmart and get a t-shirt for $20. And I'm like, yeah, if I sell it for you for $20, I'm in the hole. I'm already in the hole because I don't sell all of them. So, there's just a lot of things there that like, so I don't begrudge. I say it that way because I don't begrudge anyone who finds the cheapest supplier they can find. I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just I'm just a weirdo, so it's all good. I get it.
I get it as well. I mean, I love my quality pieces. Don't get me wrong, but I have been known to have a little bit of a Temu fetish. So,
Absolutely.
you know, when it's the first thing that comes to mind when I need a weird costumey cloak for a show is to go find it on Temu. Or I could spend 3 days driving around Nova Scotia trying to find a fucking cloak. This is actually part of my life right now. But yeah. Hey, Duane, this is I have a fun surprise for you. I have some actual real questions from other human beings. For you. Would you like me to play them for you?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, let's do it. And then we could put you back on your soapbox. I love it. Okay. Okay, I hope you can hear this. I'm just going to play it into them. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1 from our mutual friend, Krista Keogh.
My question for Duane is, when the going gets tough, when you are struggling as a small business owner and you're doing your art and things aren't going your way, what do you tell yourself to pump yourself up to get out of that funky mindset?
I'm really thinking it through because I'm going through that right now.
Oh. I'll whisper some things at you. You're gonna die, Duane. Just do what you want.
I think that's what it is. I do always think about mortality. I can't stop thinking about... My pops died. He's a musician. And I remember I'm always talking about when I retire, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I mean, he kind of did what he wanted to do anyway. So, I mean, who was he kidding? But he died like a year after retiring, something like that.
Oh.
And that just sticks with me. It's just like, and this whole Toronto thing I did, I probably would have been scared to do it because it was expensive. But I'm like, I keep saying I want to make this art thing work. It's not going to happen if I sit in my basement and make stuff and don't tell anyone or only post on Instagram, which is what I did for years. It's that I have to keep telling myself, you're going to die, buddy. Like, just don't be afraid. Just make the things, do the things, and accept that it's hard. And the pain is kind of like part of it because it makes the joy better. Like, I'm broke right now. I'm super broke.
Praise be.
So it's pain right now. But like, I also have like some amazing things that have happened in the last year and are gonna happen coming forward. So I'm like, that gamify part in my brain is like, okay, so now how do I flip this to make it a win? All of these things.
Yeah. There's a really great, taking a quote from your bio on your website, that explains how, okay, Duane was a frustrated artist and designer who was tired of never having a seat at the table. And then he remembered that designers and artists build tables and chairs, so he built his own seat and sometimes tables as well. This is something I can 1000% relate to because nobody ever handed me anything. And there were things that I have to spend so much money on, and I am broke because of it. In fact, we just had this massive financial meeting the last couple last month has been like, how are we paying off our debt? But the point being that I had to make those things happen for myself because I knew nobody else would. And that meant digging deep and financially, and luckily I have a supportive partner who was a musician as well. But I see that in you. I hear that, and a lot of the thoughts on my end too are, this comes from also after my father passed away when I was 19. And so having gone through that and seeing how fragile life can be, you know, when you see someone you think is going to live forever and then that doesn't happen. But there's a stripping away of almost, it's not that you're not afraid anymore, but you just go, I'm just going to do this anyway. There's a bit of a numbness because you're like, well, what's the worst that could happen? Like,
Yeah.
The goal then, I guess, shifts to, I don't want to die with regrets.
That's it. That's my daily thing. I say that to people who have come down on me sometimes. That is like, I don't want to be laid up in the hospital thinking, man, I wish I tried that.
Yeah. Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not hurting anybody else, and like, if you can find a way, even if it means you're going into debt, you're in, if you know, I can get out of this.
I can get out of it. Right. You got to believe that you can, and you got to just but then be smart, like take the steps to do it. And I think I see that in you too, because like I also have seen people who are completely delusional and just, do stupid stuff back to back. And then I
know. Yeah. I've always had a line. Like, I mean,
right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I've felt delusional at times, but that's where you maybe have a trusted person in your life, or you sit with it. You try to, and this is just life. We make mistakes too. Listen, I mean, not perfect. But yeah, it's these conversations, I never had them growing up. And for a long time, you were alone in this kind of mindset. And it's scary. And then now we've lived a bit, we're meeting people who are like-minded, have similar experiences or things we can also learn from. And it's inspiring and a bit comforting. Like, I don't like to hear that you're in pain, but I also, when you said like the joy becomes that much more, joyful, and I get it. And it is kind of like, I mean, this is what we've learned, and hopefully it'll all work out okay. Like,
yeah.
Hopefully we have food on the table and shelter, and like our friends we love, family we love. Like, those are the most important things. Mm-hmm. And is the debt being handled responsibly?
Yeah, right. That's the thing. It's and it's an ongoing. I actually, thinking of like the dad thing. Like, I found a book that my dad is in. From like a Bermudian musicians, and it was something he said, like, quoted when he was like 19, talking about wanting to see more rock and roll in Bermuda, and how they went on tour in Europe and the UK and opened for Jimi Hendrix. And I was just like,
whoa,
why did he never talk to me about any of this stuff? Like, but he probably didn't see the parallel between like a visual artist and a musician. But like, he owned his own taxi, so technically he was an entrepreneur. Like, that was his regular job was driving taxi, but every night he played gigs, and when he was younger he toured. So it's like, those conversations, I'm like, I want to make sure that I share the full part of me with my kids and my family too. And that's another thing. Like, I don't want them to I want to be that example too.
Yeah, well, you also have a podcast, and I think I've been thinking about this lately. Like, the podcast is a great way to have those conversations, and your kids can listen. I don't have kids. My cat could listen. But you know what? When I'm on my deathbed, like, let's say I make it to 98 or 110, and all I can do is listen to audiobooks or whatever, I'm going to listen back to this chat with you, Duane, and feel happy.
Right.
And it's just, it's just a piece of us that no one can ever take away. And if I can't hear anymore, Duane, I'm going to have it transcribed. And maybe I'll put it in Braille if I can't see. I mean, I don't know, but the options are there for us to always have these chats with heart. And that's what you're doing with your podcast too. I was actually going to ask you, with your podcast, how has the podcast, because, it's not always like you're busy. I've struggled with like, how often do I do this? But like, I know that it has made my life better. These conversations, like, what has it done for you,
I
being a
think that's
podcast
the
host?
thing because like I deal with a lot of things with my mental health ends up being related to guilt of not sort of living up to what I think my potential is or not completing things in a certain way. For instance, my plan is to release 2 episodes a month. And the last episode I released was in October. And then I released another one in January. So whenever I go on these breaks, it's not like intentional. It's like stuff is just going on and it's too much and I can't bring myself to edit or I can't bring myself to do whatever. And then I get all down on myself. And sometimes like my therapist or my wife or whoever, sometimes they're like, well, you're doing too many things. You can't do everything. You got to pick something or multiple things to take out. And the podcast almost always comes up as one of those things. And then I'm like, no, I'm not. I literally enjoy doing it. I just forget that I enjoy doing it when I get overwhelmed sometimes with the work. But the chats have been so beneficial for me. Like so I said Omar Gandhi, he's a superstar architect. And I run into him in Toronto. He remembers me because of the podcast. He's been on my show. We've talked, we built a relationship. So Andrea, who I did the show with, I met her because I thought her work was dope, invited her to be on my podcast, and we became friends. And now we did an exhibition in Toronto together. You just can't predict what the result is going to be. And I've had some paid opportunities now that keep coming back. So it's like now it's on me to stay disciplined. And I tell myself I'll maybe reduce it to once a month so that it's better for me. But then I don't know, is it that or is it just that I need to get out of my own way and just set aside the time to do what I need to do, get off Instagram and stop scrolling. And because I'm a demon on that app.
Are you? Yeah. You're always, I mean, you're pretty quick at responding. I'm not on there a lot, but when I go on there, you are quick to respond. Are you just sitting there all day? Is that you?
Yeah, because I'm just always on there. I'm not supposed to be on there. I'm just
It's discipline. It is hard. I do. Setting these boundaries for yourself is hard. These devices are designed to addict us. I mean, even the best non-addictive personality person can be addicted to the device. Yeah.
Yes, and I realize if I get off there, I'd have more time to do the things.
Yeah, you would. Well, I think we get addicted sometimes to even some of the business things or actions I thought I had to do that I'm like, wow, that was a waste of my time, but I thought I had to do it because I thought everybody else was doing it or something. And then I just stopped doing it and let it go. And then it gave me a week more of life in the year, those kind of things. So it's something to think about.
We convince ourselves that we need to do these things, and we might not. It takes a lot of self-reflection, and a lot of people aren't able to look at, have the hard conversations with themselves.
I know. We do have to do our taxes, everybody. We do have to do that. I do not recommend you avoid the essentials, but I'm just trying to think of an example of what's something that we could each just throw out. I organize my sock drawer quite a bit. I could probably cut that. Sorry. I spend a lot of time organizing stuff. I really love organizing my closets, and so I could
What are your sock categories?
I have my socks with the little rubber things on the bottom for working out.
Yeah.
I have my winter warm cozy socks. I have my sports socks. I have my fashion short socks with little hearts on them. And then there's the socks that I just never wear, but I for some reason can't Like, I always think, what if you really can't afford anything and you can't buy socks someday and you don't want to darn, you should keep these socks. Is
True.
that crazy?
No, it's not crazy at all.
What are you going to give up? Or the
Oh,
scrolling?
so there, there's two things, I guess. Well, there is the Instagram thing. I got to be more conscious about how I'm actually using it. I tell everyone I need it. I need it. I'm an artist. It's important, and culture is what feeds my work, and I have to be aware of what's going on. But I don't need to be that aware. And then also, it's like watching certain TV shows. Like I love shows. I love movies,
Yeah.
but I don't need to watch all of them, and I don't need to watch something every day. I can take that time to like catch up on paperwork or
Yeah.
do my audio and not feel guilt about like, you know, I do get caught up in that thing where it's like, oh, you shouldn't be working all the time. And it's like, well,
Should I be watching shows all the time?
exactly. Like I'm just like turning my brain off watching mush when I know I have this other thing that I could be doing that I actually kind of enjoy doing. Like I love updating my website, but I'm way behind in that. But like I end up getting sucked into a show and then I don't do it.
It's so addictive. I used to not watch TV except like a movie night when I
Yeah.
was most of my life until Dale and I got married, and then and then streaming, and then every night we'll watch like, and you get through an episode, you want to watch the next one, then it's midnight. You spent 3 or 4 hours laying in bed staring at a screen.
Literally.
So I'm with you. Actually, you know what? I should cut down on that too, because I want to read more, and
Same.
yeah, it fuels, my writing, and I want to write more, like actual like memoir writing. So
Oh, nice.
Duane, let's pinky swear.
Pinky swear, yeah. I read last night because it's the same
Oh.
thing. I'm like, I can't read because I'm watching stuff. So
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
know.
let's go to bed. I turned off the TV and I just turned on a lamp and started reading.
Good for
Or
you.
I started pulling out the book and just reading while watching the show and just like realized I'm not watching the show right now. I'm actually reading. So,
I bought a Kindle, dude.
oh, you're locked in.
I'm like committed.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. So this is inspiring. Hey, listen, before I don't want to let you go, but I should, because you're busy. But we have two more questions from our friend Allie.
Oh,
like-
okay.
Okay, here, let's go. First question.
Okay, I want to know where he gets his constant inspiration from. And what is it that, when you're in that funk, when you're not feeling motivated, when you're like, ugh, do I really have to do this again? What is it that gets you up and puts the paintbrush in your hand?
But yeah, good question.
Yes. It's literally life. And I make sure to write these things down now. So like things that I'm experiencing, pain that I'm feeling, joy, or like some weird ass thing I came across on Instagram that I'm like, hey, that's an art piece right there.
See, you need Instagram.
The Instagram, that's where I justify, see, I need to be on there. I just got an idea for a painting.
Sometimes things come up on Instagram, like fashion-wise, and I'm like, ooh, I haven't seen that before. I don't know, it triggers something, it gets my juices flowing. I know it doesn't sound like it's related to songwriting, but the colors and the fabrics and the idea, like it gets my brain going,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Even this and the music too, like
Yeah.
triggers things for visual artists a lot. Yeah.
Okay, one last question again from Allie.
I also would like to know if he'd like his big purple dildo back. I have not been brave enough to use it.
So for some context here, Duane was featured in one of my music videos for a song called Sex, Drugs, and Christmas Time. And in the video, we had people open up gifts. They didn't know what they were opening up. And bless his heart, Duane opened up the gift that was a giant purple dildo that I ended up gifting to Allie in real life. that she apparently is terrified to try, and I completely understand why. And by the way, but going back to my Temu shopping, this was a Temu purchase, so I don't know why anyone would want to use this. Who knows if it's been returned, multiple times. But yeah, do you want that back?
Oh, that's a good question. I was almost gonna ask Ali if she did end up using it. But
Back
then
to
I thought
Allie.
maybe I shouldn't do that.
You should. I'm going to have her on the podcast talking about what it's like being a vet, and then you can ask that question to her.
Oh boy.
I know. This has been fun, Duane.
Yes.
What do you got on the go coming up? Anything you want to tell my little heartbeat listeners about
Yes.
before I... Okay.
If you're in Halifax or Nova Scotia or whatever, we are going to be doing a version of the exhibition that's in Toronto in Halifax at the Halifax Central Library in the sunroom.
Ooh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll go see it.
Yes. I think it's in April.
Oh, when we're in
But-
Germany. Wait, is it going to extend for a period of
Yeah,
time?
it's going to be there for a while. It's not like a one-day thing or anything, so you'll probably have time to see it.
Okay. Well, tell me when the opening is so I can spread the word on my socials. And maybe if we aren't in Europe at that time touring and there's an opening night, maybe we can be there for support.
Cool. That'd be
Duane,
great.
thank you for being on the podcast. And I look forward to having you over, playing games,
Yes.
and whatever else happens.
And I need to get you on my podcast.
Oh, I'd love to. In creative, we should do a creative collaboration someday. We have 50 years at least, I'm sure, but something will happen where we're like, hey, let's work on this together. I'd love that.
Yes. I
I don't
agree.
know what it is, but
I agree.
okay.
I haven't done anything with a musician yet, too. So,
Ooh,
that would be cool.
you could write a song. We can write a song together. I know it. We can do it. I'm a huge believer that anyone creative, and almost everyone is creative, and anyone who has a story can write a song. It helps if you're partnered with a musician who can help shape it. But I'm all about writing with people who don't write songs too. Now, this is a new thing I'm into.
Oh,
So-
that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
Okay. Well,
actually.
there's an idea. There's an idea.
a song and apparel or painting or something collab that comes together. That'd be
That would be awesome. Okay. Let's do it.
It's love. I don't want to say goodbye to you. Oh, I don't want to say goodbye to you.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day. Hey, thanks for listening to A Chat with Heart, produced by me, Christina Martin. Co-produced and engineered by my partner in life and sound, Dale Murray. Dale's not just a wizard with knobs, he's also a killer singer-songwriter, session musician, and music producer. Go snoop around his world at dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, and I Don't Want to Say Goodbye to You were written by me and recorded by Dale. Want to support what we do? You can snag CDs, vinyl, digital music, and some weirdly delightful merch like custom puzzles and temporary tattoo packs over on my Bandcamp. If you're into keeping indie art alive or just want good karma, become a monthly or yearly member on my Patreon. It's a platform that helps creators get paid to keep making stuff we love. I swear by it. Sign up, free or paid, at patreon.com/Christina Martin. If this podcast made you laugh, cry, think, or rage text your best friend, do me a solid, share it, rate it, review it, and hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And to all my little heartbeat listeners, stay weird, stay tender, and I'll catch you next time.